Welcome back to another edition of The Angels here on MLB The Show 25. It is time for the trade deadline, everyone's favorite portion of the season, and it is time to gut this team because the Angels are bad, so we are trying to trade off anybody who is possibly tradable. And the first guy we did was Taylor Ward. We sent him to the Los Angeles Dodgers, where the Angels. Taylor Ward, left fielder, one more year of team control on his deal. We get in return Kellen Lindsey, who was the Dodgers 2024 first-round pick. Now, I know what people are thinking, oh my god, they would never trade their first-round pick they just took for Taylor Ward. I'm just going to be straight up here. This is a game where the trading isn't like real life. You cannot replicate real-life trades in this game, no matter how hard you try. You can try to keep it as realistic as possible, but it's just, the value does not line up. You can only do 3 things maximum. The organizations are only so deep in this game. So I try to keep them as realistic as possible, ratings-wise, and what makes sense from an organizational standpoint for our system and their system. Even taking that into account, sometimes I'll trade something that makes sense for the team I'm trading them to, and then I'll sim 2 days and they immediately just either trade the guy I just traded them, or they'll take like something that the whole reason I'm giving them this deal is because they have a certain player in place, and then they just trade that player away and now it just looks like I've fleeced them or something. Because as much as this game has said over the years that the only thing they ever touch in franchise is trade logic, every year it's the feature. New trade logic, improved trade logic, it is genuinely worse right now than it's ever been. I can genuinely say that after this one trade deadline. It is worse right now than it was 5 years ago. 100%. So I'm not going to go here and just try to rip off the CPU teams at all times, but let's be realistic here, okay? Let's not act like me trying to be super anal about doing the most realistic trade possible is realistic in this game. It's not. And it's also just kind of silly to even try to do when I'm trying to do these super realistic trades, while at the same time the AI is doing just batshit insane stuff, which you will see in this episode. But getting back into our deals here, Taylor Ward for Kellen Lindsey. He was their first-round pick in 2024, like I said. In this game, very long way away from the big leagues. He is nowhere near big league ready, but he has a B potential. He is insanely fast. The hope for him is that we are going to change his secondary position to center field, turn him into a shortstop center fielders type of guy like we did with Kyron Paris. I just think that makes sense with his elite speed. And the hope for him is that he can become a good contact vision hitter somewhere down the line and put the ball in play enough to use his speed on offense, and then also just have a really good glove at 2 elite positions in the at defense, at shortstop and center field. So moving things on to the next trade we did, it was Robert Stevenson and Kevin Newman shipped off to the Seattle Mariners. We get in return Caleb Colley and Kendry Martinez. Stevenson has been great for us this season. He has been one of the best relievers for us, sub-2 ERA. What more can you ask for? He has 1 more year on his contract as well. Unfortunately, in this game, relievers just don't have value whatsoever. So even if you have a really good reliever, they're not going to have much value. So Stevenson just doesn't have tons. So him and Kevin Newman are going to be packaged to Seattle. Kevin Newman could help them because currently J.P. Crawford is hurt for them. He will be back at some point this season, but he is going to be out for a good chunk of time, so he could play some shortstop for them while he is out. And this team refuses to call up Cole Young or Colt Emerson. Well, as far as the players that we acquired, Kendry Martinez is an 18-year-old C-potential shortstop. He's got decent contact and vision, decent glove as well. Could be an interesting piece somewhere down the line for us. And then Caleb Colley is a 24-year-old corner infielder / left fielder with C potential. He's got 67 plate discipline. Hopefully he can develop something around that discipline and turn into a decent hitter. If not, it's whatever. Just kind of taking a shot on a C potential guy. The next trade we did was to the Colorado Rockies, shipping off Tyler Anderson and in return getting Warming Bernabel. Not a lot of teams that can use an aging 5th starter type guy, but the Colorado Rockies are still technically in it in the wild card chase. They're not totally out of it. So I figured, hey, why not do like a buy low deal where a guy who could actually go into the rotation because everybody else could not really use him in the rotation. So the Rockies could. Figured, hey, why not give up some C potential guy who's never going to be anything for them? And that's how we end up with Warming Bernabel. So then we move on to trade Brock Burke to the Houston Astros in return for Quincy Hamilton. Burke, another reliever who has been really good for us, just not a lot of value even with one more arbitration year on his team control. Just does not matter, not a lot of value there, so we end up getting Quincy Hamilton, who is a 26-year-old C potential outfielder from Wright State. If you don't know anything about Wright State, folks, in college baseball, they recruit athletes. And you could see that. Quincy Hamilton, he's got some good speed, he's got a good glove. It's just a matter of if his bat is ever going to develop. He's 26, so he's a bit older of a prospect, but he's still not totally gone to the point where you can give up on a guy like that. He can definitely develop. Who knows where he is 2-3 years from now? Who knows what that bat looks like? It could be something that's actually useful to us. Especially if he pops off for a season or two in the minor leagues, we'll have to see how things go. Then we shipped off Luis Rengifo, Jose Quijada, and Caleb Ketchup to the Tampa Bay Rays in return for Curtis Mead and Colton Ledbetter. The Rays have a very lefty-heavy lineup, a lot of left-handed bats, not a lot of guys who can crush lefties. Even though Curtis Mead is one of those guys, they refuse to use him. They also have a ton of injuries at first base, so I'm thinking that, we give them Rengifo plays second base against lefties, maybe some against righties, and then either Brandon Lau or Jonathan Aranda can play first base for them, which is probably what they're already doing. And then Jose Quijada has just been a really, really solid reliever for us. Good reliever to have. He has another year of team control. Definitely a guy the Rays could use this year and next year. And then Ketchup is just in the deal to make the deal work. While Curtis Mead is an Australian corner infielder, very good bat against left-handed pitching, solid against right-handed pitching, not currently playing for Tampa Bay, they're not really using him, so I figured, hey, you're not going to use this guy, we can use him. Take him off your hands. And then we also threw in Colton Ledbetter, who is a 23-year-old C potential outfielder from Mississippi State. He has some pop, a decent glove, could possibly develop. We'll have to see how his career goes. Then we also made a little buy low deal here sell low, I guess you would call it. The Milwaukee Brewers are buying low by picking up Yoan Moncada from us in return for Isaac Collins and Craig Yoho. Milwaukee, they could use a third baseman. Moncada comes in there. He's basically their best third baseman at the moment with Moncada, so he's going to go in there, help them the rest of the season as an expiring free agent. And Isaac Collins and Craig Yoho is just kind of giving up nothing, essentially, for that. Isaac Collins is a 27-year-old C potential outfielder with good plate discipline, and then Craig Yoho is a 25-year-old C potential right-handed reliever. Then we went for our final trade. We shipped off Jorge Soler to the Seattle Mariners, trading them for a second time. I just happened to notice that their lineup against left-handed pitching, their DH was Donovan Solano. Jorge Soler crushes left-handed pitching. It's a match made in heaven, folks. So we ship off Jorge Soler to Seattle. In return, we get Brock Moore, who is a right-handed reliever, 24 years old, C potential. He went to Oregon. He was an Oregon Duck. He could possibly be something interesting for us down the line. We'll have to see. And as far as the new-look Angels here post-trade deadline, we did make a couple call-ups to fill spots at the big league level. George Klassen was one of those. He has been called up from AAA Salt Lake. He will be in the rotation. Caden Dana also called up from AAA Salt Lake. That means we do have to send somebody down to open up a spot, though, as Ian Anderson will be the one going back down to AAA. Cole Fontenelle is getting called up from AAA. He will be playing third base for us every day against right-handed pitching. Carter Aldretti is also being called up from AAA. He has been good in AAA Salt Lake this season, and we just need a guy who can spot us some middle infield bench spots. So Carter Aldretti fills that role for us. Cooper Hummel was sent down as the backup catcher, and Gustavo Campero has been called up to be the new backup catcher at the major league level. And then we also claimed Pedro Leon off waivers from the Houston Astros. He is going to be playing center field for us, as Joe Adele is going to shift to left field as we take a look at the lineups. Here against right-handed pitching, there you have it. Shawnuel, Trout, Neto, Ohapi, Mead at first, Fontenelle at third, Adele in left, Leon in center, and then Matthew Lugo at second. And then against lefties, it's the same thing. 1 through 5, 6, 7, and then you have or I guess it's Adele, then Leone, and then Aldretti plays third, and Lugo plays second base. Those are the changes with lefties. In the rotation, it's Kikuchi, Soriano, Detmers, and then the new guys, Klassen and Dana. And then in the bullpen, it's going to be Spencer Bivens back up from AAA. He's the long man. In the middle relief, it's going to be Sam Bachman, Hans Kraus, Garrett McDaniels, and Ryan Zefferjan, who has been called up from AAA. And then the back end of the bullpen is Ryan Johnson and Angel Perdomo in the setup roles to get the double barrel action there. And then in the closer spot is Ben Joyce. And as far as what we did overall at the deadline, you can see it right in front of your face right now. That is the full recap of every trade we made here with the Angels. And as far as the around the league stuff, boy, was it a doozy. The first one, C.J. Abrams, no longer a Washington National. He is now a Pittsburgh Pirate. In return for Connor Griffin and a C potential outfielder going to the Washington Nationals, while Washington then immediately turned around and traded for a buy trade in getting Ryan Helsley from the St. Louis Cardinals. St. Louis gets a 28-year-old mid to back of the rotation starting pitcher in Jake Irvin, and then Josh Bell. Not a lot of value there for Ryan Helsley. And then they also went and sold off Mason Wynn to the Boston Red Sox. They do get Miguel Bleis and then kind of just like a nothing, forever, never going to develop prospect. Miguel Bleis, Miguel Bleis, however you say his name, I know who he is. He's rated pretty well in this game. He could be somebody, but still, you're trading away Mason Wynn. St. Louis wasn't done. They also traded away Nolan Arenado to the New York Yankees in return for 2 C potential prospects. Now, whether you think Spencer Jones should be a C potential prospect, that is up in the air. He could possibly be a B. But after all, Spencer Jones is a very, very flawed prospect. He has like a 40% whiff rate in real life. Hits the ball very far, has some really good speed, but, doesn't make enough contact with that really high whiff rate. And St. Louis basically gutted their entire roster. Not only did they do those trades, they also traded Lars Nootbaar to Toronto in return for Arjun Namala, and they shipped off Wilson Contreras to Milwaukee to go and play with his brother William. And honestly, the Abrams, the Wynn trade, not even probably the most shocking one. The most shocking one, Riley Green to the Philadelphia Phillies in return for 2 good prospects. At least Detroit did get 2 good prospects. Aiden Miller looks like he could be a really, really good player for them. The other guy, I forget his name, also looks like he could be pretty good. But still, you're trading Riley Green. And remember, this is the Detroit Tigers who just traded for Bo Bichette in this universe like a month or so ago. So now they don't look like they're going to make the playoffs, so rather than just hope they can turn it around, they're going to sell Riley Green. That's the thing about this game that pisses me off with the trade logic, is that it only takes into account, I don't even know what it takes into account, because it surely doesn't take into account anything that matters. It doesn't take into account team control on a player that you're going to trade away. It doesn't take into account ages of that player. It doesn't account for anything like that. All it does is the CPU is going, okay, we're a team that's not making the playoffs, it's time to sell off talent. So then the CPU looks at their roster and goes, okay, our best player here, he's talent we could ship off. And it doesn't take into account the fact the guy is 24 years old. So the CPU has done that with Riley Green, and this one, even after trading for Bo Bichette. The Nationals one makes no sense to me because they trade away C.J. Abrams, who is very clearly their shortstop of the now and the future, for super far away from the big leagues prospects, so it's not like they were trying to, trade from a strength to get a different upgrade somewhere else. It wasn't like they were trying to get pitching or something. They get 2 super far away prospects in Connor Griffin, and then I think Polanco was the other guy who's like a C potential. And then they immediately go around and then trade a buy now thing to get an elite closer on an expiring contract. But then I think he's on an expiring contract. And then they also just give up their 3rd or 4th starter in Jake Irvin for that, and then also Josh Bell, who has been very good for them in this save. It just seems like they're just throwing darts at a wall blindfolded, and just whatever they land on they do, because none of it ever makes any sense. But it's MLB The Show, so what can you do? Nothing. You can't do anything, because you can't monitor trades anymore. As the new-look Los Angeles Angels post-trade deadline here, taking on the top of the division here in the AL West, the Seattle Mariners, and it's going to be George Klassen, the University of Minnesota man, the Golden Gopher, making his major league debut here for the Halos. Start things off top half of the first inning. Luis Robles gets a pitch that goes nowhere near where we were aiming, and he takes it up against the right center field wall to lead off the game with a two-bagger, but then luckily Klassen clutches up, gets a little line out to third base. Fontenelle puts it away for out number 1 off the bat of Kevin Newman, and then Julio Rodriguez takes one out to right field, caught by Trout for out number 2, and then Cal Raleigh locked up on the backdoor slider, so Klassen strands the runner at second base. On the bump for the day on the Mariners side of things will be Brian Wu, the Cal Poly Mustang. On the bump, so bottom of the second, Cole Fontenelle poking one out to left field. That's going to be a base knock for the TCU Horned Frog. Brings up Joe Adell, who spits on this pitch. That gets away from Cal Raleigh, allows Fontenelle to move up to second base in scoring position. And then Joe Adell gets a pitch he likes and absolutely pulverizes this pitch towards the rocks in left center field. 2-run blast as the Angels have themselves a lead here, 2-0 in this ball game. They'll take that into the top of the third, where Jorge Polanco once again pitch that goes nowhere near we're aiming, and this one's going out to left center. Up against the wall, over the wall actually, a ground rule double to lead off the inning, but then Klassen once again clutches up. Solano pop up to right field, out number 1, brings up Robles, top of the order, ground ball at the shortstop. Carter Aldrete makes the play, brings up Kevin Newman, 1-2 pitch, popped up into foul territory. Fontenelle puts it away as Klassen retires 3 and strands the runner at second base. Move things on top 4. It's going to be Julio spitting on ball 4 as the pitch is way below the zone. Then it brings up Cal Raleigh, misses the zone once again. Back-to-back walks to start the inning for Klassen, but then he clutches up once again. Luke Raley blowing 98 past him, up and in. That's strikeout number 1. Then it brings up Randy Arozarena, gets him as well, locks him up. Fastball bottom of the zone, nowhere near where we're aiming, but somehow it works. And then it brings up Rowdy Tellez, gets the cutter, whips through that. 3 Ks in the inning for Klassen, and nothing comes across the plate as he is hyped. Move things on to the 5th, and this is where things fall apart. Donovan Solano going over the head of Adell in left field. That's going to be a double here with 1 out. He's in scoring position. Brings up Victor Robles. Pitch gets through the legs of Logan O'Hoppe, allows the runner to move up to third base, 90 feet away from scoring now, as then Robles spits on ball 4. Runners are on the corners here for the Mariners. Brings up Kevin Newman, old friend, delivering against his former team. Left center field, he's going gapping. This is going to score 2 runs, and just like that, the lead is gone. 2-2 ball game. Hans Kraus coming out of the bullpen here for the Halos, now to replace George Klassen, and he finds himself in a runners on the corner situation, giving up a single to Cal Raleigh, gets through the infield, makes it a 3-2 ball game. They find their first lead of the ball game. So then Arozarena grounds one through the infield. That's going to make it 4-2. It's now a 2-run lead. Then it brings up Rowdy Tellez. He rips one into left. That lands in front of Adell. Run is going to come in as the throw to the plate is nowhere near the plates, and it's now a 5-2 ball game. Sam Bachman would come into the game then, get out of that inning, but then move things on to the 6th, where Kevin Newman once again delivers for the Mariners, drives in a run. Adell's throw to the plate not in time. It's a 6-2 ball game. Garrett McDaniels, the lefty, comes on here for the Halos in the 7th, facing Luke Raley with a runner on. Somehow Meade just has a delayed reaction and then almost throws it into the outfield. Everyone's safe. Later on the inning, it's bases juice, nobody out, and then Rowdy Tellez does this. Pitch was basically at his stomach. Somehow bloops it into left field. Adell's throw goes to the backstop, and that's when I'm like, all right, I've seen enough. We're quick managing the rest. And the Seattle Mariners win this game 10-5 here over the Angels. Looked like a promising performance through about 4 innings, and then in the 5th, Klassen lost his groove, gave up the lead, and then the bullpen just totally imploded. But Klassen goes 4 1/3, 4 hits, 5 Ks, 3 walks, and 3 earned runs in his major league debut. And then once again, the offense couldn't really do much. Adell hit the 2-run home run, and then Trout and Meade both homered in the quick sim. And we just keep moving things along here in this Angels season. We are now here into late August, and the Angels still firmly in last place, for 9.5 games back in the American League West, currently rocking a 3-7 in their last 10 and an L5. Just playing terrible baseball. but it's not all bad, as Nolan Schanuel has actually been very, very good for us. He has the 3rd highest OBP in the American League, as well as the 9th highest OPS in the American League, so a top 10 in that regard. And then Curtis Mead has been phenomenal for us since coming over from the trade from Tampa Bay. He has a 963 OPS, a 364 average, a 394 OBP, 6 home runs, and 7 doubles and 132 at-bats here with the Angels in 2025. I mean, he's been great. And then a little update on the 2 rookie pitchers. George Klassen, or I guess Dana has outplayed his rookie status, but George Klassen has a 5.65 ERA, but he has a very encouraging 2.6 FIP. I believe it's 2.6. It could be 2.8. It's very small on my screen. Caden Dana, also 6 ERA, but it's only a 3.7 FIP, so getting a bit unlucky there at the ERA. The red-hot Curtis Mead for the Angels. Take a look at his last 21 games, 4 home runs with a 4-digit OPS, as him and the Angels, led by Caden Dana on the hill making his 6th start, will be taking on the Chicago Cubs. Start things off top half of the first inning. Dansby Swanson ground ball into the infield. Lugo backhands it, but is going to beat it out for the infield single. And then with Kyle Tucker at the dish, he would go and swipe second base, get himself into scoring position. Tucker then spits on ball 4 as Dana finds himself in trouble. First and second, 1 out to Ian Happ, as he would just ground one off of Dana. Somehow is fine, is not able to make the play though, so now it's bases juiced here for the Cubs. Michael Busch would then fly one out to right field. That's going to be caught, make it a sac fly, and the Cubs do strike first in this one off that 1-0, but nothing else would go on in the inning. Move things on top 2 here. John Birdie up with runners on second and third. He gets one through the middle of the infield. 2 RBI single. It's now a 3-0 Cubbies win, or 3-0 Cubbies lead, as then Dana does clutch up, strikes out Swanson, and then Tucker back-to-back to get out of the top half of the second. Move things on to the bottom of the second, where the bats actually showed up a bit. Zach Neto hits one out into right field, little bloop shot inside outs, base knock. Then Joe Adell spits on ball 4. He'll take his base. It's first and second now for the Halos against Shota Imanaga. And then Pedro Leon watches a borderline pitch, gets the call. Bases are juiced here for the Halos as the Carter Aldretti rips one into left field. That's going to score 1. It's a 3-1 ball game. Brings up Matthew Lugo, who just gets a bunch of pitches dotted on the corners, whips through the splitter. 2 down, then Schanuel comes up, grounds one to third base, and nothing else going for the Angels. It's a 3-1 ball game. Move things on at the top of the third, where Matt Shaw gets a curveball that does not drop and takes this one into the left field seats. A solo shot off the bat of the Maryland man Matt Shaw makes it 4-1. And then Pedro Leon comes up in the bottom of the 4th and does the same thing. Solo shot into the left field seats. Finally makes some loud contact. Makes it a 4-2 ball game. Cuts their lead in half. Brings things on to the top of the 5th, where Michael Busch, runner on first base, 1 out. He's going out to left center field. A slow roller is going to score the runner all the way from first, make it a 5-2 game. Spencer Bivens then comes on to face Matt Shaw, the man who has already homered once in this game, and he throws a slider that does not slide, and that is crushed into the left field bullpen. A 2-run blast off the bat of Matt Shaw makes it a 7-2 ball game. Move things on to the 5th. Just for shits and giggles, let's see what the bats do. Nolan Schanuel gets a hanging changeup. CPU's putting that pitch 450 into the right field seats. Us, good timing, not even close to the warning track. Then Mike Trout comes up, pulls one just barely out in front of it, misses the home run, that's foul, and then the next pitch would just whiff through a fastball. Nothing going for the Angels, and that's when I'm like, I've seen enough, time to quick manage. And the final score in this game ends up being 9-2 Cubs as they take this one, and the Angels drop another blowout loss. The dreadful season continues as Caden Dana goes 4 1/3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 Ks, 2 walks, and 6 earned runs. The player of the game, of course, is Matt Shaw for his 2 home runs on the day. Shota Imanaga could not get cracked. 8 innings, 4 hits, 11 Ks, only 2 earned runs from the Halos bats. I mean, classic pitching is just unbelievably frustrating. I cannot even I cannot even talk about how frustrating it has been for me. I feel like I've talked about it a bunch already, and it's bad. It's not fun. Nothing goes where you aim, so you're basically constantly forced to aim the pitch dead center, middle, and just hope the movement takes over, or hope that you just get a good spot with the RNG where it doesn't go where you're aiming it. And then even with that, even if you just aim down the middle every pitch, you still end up in 3-1 counts constantly. So what am I supposed to only use pitchers who have 95 overalls, and that's the only way you can pitch well in this game with classic pitching? So I think next season we'll be switching away from that. It is now time for a minor league check-in with Christian Moore, the 2024 first-round pick of the Los Angeles Angels. He was terrible in AA this season for the Rocket City Trash Pandas, but after the deadline, we needed somebody who could play second base for us at the AAA level, so Christian Moore came up, and ever since he's called at the AAA, he has been on fire. He has been raking at the AAA level with a 935 OPS, 7 home runs, and 4 doubles, and 104 ABs. And Christian Moore's entire thing is that when he makes contact, it is loud, powerful contact. However, his whole thing is also if he can make enough consistent contact. That is what his whole profile, his whole career hinges on. Can he make enough consistent contact to be a useful player? He already has 81 power against lefties, 69 power against righties, but he has a dreadful, totally unusable 6 vision and 22 plate discipline. He's still only 22 years old with a B potential, so he could develop quite well, but at the same time, those plate skills numbers are so incredibly low. They're honestly, straight up disrespectful to Christian Moore. I'm totally aware what his profile is, but he does not have 6 vision. So honestly, I've considered bumping those up to be 35-ish, somewhere around there, maybe low 40s, because it's still not a good rating, but it's not so bad that he's going to be performing as if he has a 52 overall. But even with that being said, you can see he's been good in AAA in small sample size. Hopefully it can continue, but I do think next season I'm still considering it and bumping up the vision and discipline just to be slightly more respectable. So as you can see, we are currently in the month of September. Way at the end of the season, we literally have 1 game left on the year, and you could just see by the amount of L's and the amount of L's in a row through different streaks, September did not go well. August did not go well either, and the Angels are currently sitting at 68-93, which you can see is dead last in the American League West Division, and 15 games out of first place. Nobody expected this team to be good. I don't think we expected ourselves to be this bad, but that's what happened. I feel like it was definitely aided along by once we gutted the whole team at the trade deadline, but we've also had some definitely underachieving performances from certain players, especially some of the guys who have come up post-trade deadline, which we will get into more so in the off-season episode. But for now, just know that this team, not very good. We have finally reached the point in the season. It is game 162. The Los Angeles Angels taking on the Houston Astros in a rubber match here to decide who will take the final series of the season. And it is our favorite pitcher, Jose Soriano, on the bump, making his 33rd and final start. And things actually went well in the first. Yordan Alvarez run the ladder on him, 99. See ya. Sit down on that one. And then Jose Altuve, the nasty 98-mile-an-hour two-seamer, gets him whiffing on a ball in the dirt. So 2 strikeouts to end the top of the first. Lance McCullers Jr. on the bump for the Astros, the injury-prone right-hander. Nolan Shotwell starting things off with a base knock up the middle. That's going to be a single to start the game. Then it is Mike Trout singling to left field through the third baseman and shortstop. Back-to-back base knocks for the Halos brings up Zach Neto now with 2 outs, and then he would ground one past the third baseman. Everyone moves up a base. Bases are juiced now for the Halos as Cole Fontenelle comes up. First pitch swinging, barely foul. Somehow misses that just a little tiny bit out in front of it, and then after an 8-pitch AB, cannot pull the trigger on that inside pitch, and he goes down looking, and nothing comes in for the Angels. Still nothing. Move things on top 2 is Soriano once again working a clean inning, striking out Paredes, and then Christian Walker somehow taking a pitch well below the strike zone at the deep left center field, but Pedro Leon is there to put it away. So still nothing going for the Astros. Top 3 now. This is where things start to fall apart. Jeremy Pena comes up, hits one into left field. Runners on the corners now with one out for Mauricio Dubon. And he rips one into left field. That's going to get down into the gap, and that's going to score 2 runs as he finds himself on second base. And the Houston Astros have themselves a 2-0 lead in this one. Then Yordan Alvarez comes up. It's now 4-0. Absolute laser over the right field fence, down the tunnel where they have like the ambulance and whatnot. 4-0 Houston Astros, 45th home run of the season for Alvarez. Move things on to the 5th, where he would get an infield single as Christian Moore knocks that one down. He's up with the September call-ups. And now it's runner on first, 1 out. Ball hit over the head of Leon somehow. Altuve, he's going to get up on second base. Alvarez did not go initially because they didn't know if he was going to get caught or not, so he's only to third base, but then later on in the inning, its base is juiced. Christian Walker with a 2-strike count and 2 outs. Grounds one through the middle. That scores 2, makes it a 6-0 game as then Ryan Zefferjan comes in out of the bullpen, and he would face Brendan Rodgers in the batter's box. Throws a breaking ball that does not break, hangs it out over the middle, and Rodgers takes it off the center field fence. That's going to score 2. It's now an 8-0 lead for the Astros. And that is where I go. Enough of this. It's time for the quick manage. And the Houston Astros absolutely throttle the Los Angeles Angels here in the rubber match in the last game of the season. 12-0. Can't even hit in the quick manage. Extremely frustrating team to play with this season. They just underachieved all year long, and then the team was just truly dreadful post-trade deadline. Soriano goes 4 2/3, 10 hits, 6 Ks, 1 walk, and 8 earned runs given up. While on the Houston side of things, their entire roster hit well against us, and then Lance McCullers had his first good start since before the pandemic. What can you say, man? What can you say? Terrible season for the Angels. Finally, it is over, though, as we look forward to the offseason for the next episode. I've been your host, JerseyBorn, and I'm saying, Fountains of Wayne.